Get ready, get set, and hold on. It's going to be one heck of a ride. Good morning. Welcome to the Mouth of Matuszak show for this Thursday, August 21st, 2014. And I'm your host, Paul-Gregory Matuszak. And we've got a heck of a show. We've got the same stories kicking around that we've had for last few days. We have some other information on some other stories rising to the surface. And all kinds of other things going on. So let's get to it, folks. And let's get our morning going as we continue our recent trend. Because, folks, I just can't get enough of this song, and hopefully neither can you, because here it is again for you to kick off the show. Powdered Zombies, featuring, of course, comedian Steven Crowder and music producer, musician, and person extraordinaire, Chris Lash, husband of Dana Lash, radio and now television show host. So let's get a little listen to their rendition, or their song, as I should say, Mr. America. Whoa.
Mr. America, look what you've done.
Yeah, looking at the country is not what I intended. Gotta start to make a change before the never-ending story of a failed nation runs straight out of luck. Like $1 million Perry movies, you suck. All you little have life, you're still selfish and want more, voting in your self-interest now instead of the core principles that made this country both honest and true. Free to speak, worship, pursuit of your happiness too. With all the money you fly, you gon' be needing a big freeze. Hate the size of the Fed like Jesus hated the fig tree. As the spending goes up, you gotta borrow some more. Borrowing from the Chinese like, oh my lord. Instead you just tax more, yet increasing the size of the federal government. Yeah, the Georgia surprise, you'll be done like Detroit. Man, no, you ain't coming back. Forget it, I'm out, I'm muzzle loading.
Mr. America, look what you've done. You trade your liberty and sovereignty for lies and promises. Mr. America, don't you run away. You pick up pieces up and face the problems, you'll be great again. I got tired of rolling over in my grave every day, making a monarchy of my beloved US of A. You little glitches need reminding of what we were before, and the sits that led us up to revolutionary war. High taxes to the throne without a voice of our own. Rule top down from the crime we wanted left alone. Oh, y'all so soft, you're taking it year after year. We were fighting red coats while we're brewing our beer. Now I'm drinking, spitting ciphers through a grill made of wood. That's how it all went down in G-Dub's neighborhood. Packing cabin balls like powder hammers will cock, lock, click, clack. The loss of backs like the attack. The chicken littles who don't know me, listen, don't let it twist. We kick the A's of the B's for much less than this. So don't deny the historical climbing out of the mud. Follow me, believe this creed, plant the seeds and be free. America, look what you've done. You trade your liberty and sovereignty for lies and promises. Mr. America, don't you run away. You pick up pieces up and face the problems, you'll be great again.
On the warrants at 8-5 when it's really at 12. Hear me, classes in session, you can't be safe out the bell. What happens when you keep printing more dough? Both parties have gone green like their name was Al Gore. Yeah, but right now you're high. Hey, ain't you big hitter? But now I'm back from the dead. I'm bringing back all my knickers.
What, knickers? No, it's okay. I can say knickers because I wear knickers.
Man, you think I say that? What's wrong with you? I'm just talking about my show back then. I rocked with my shoe. But let's go back to the first point I was trying to make. The degradation of our freedoms and our country still the only change you're gonna get is being left with the bill.
Mr. America, look what you've done. You trade your liberty and sovereignty for lies and promises. Mr. America, don't you run away. You pick up pieces up and face the problems, you'll be great again. Mr. America, whoa, whoa. Mr. America, whoa, whoa.
Yeah, another day in a row, get you going. A little bit of Mr. America, kind of a little bit of reminding you about what it's all about to be an American, and how some of us may have strayed away from that, or lost sight of that, and way things kind of started going, and now how we need to refocus. Because, folks, we all have a stake. We all are Americans, and we all need to make sure that our voices are heard by those that we have elected to represent us. And if they're not representing what we need and what we desire, we need to make our voices heard again, and they're heard best at the ballot box. And this is a congressional election year. This year, if you have your representative is up for re-election, or if they're retiring, then you have primaries all around. And if you don't like what your current representative is doing, well, you should have an alternative. Now, if y'all live where I do, in this little speck of dust, this insignificant little speck that's barely even big enough to be considered a state called Texas, and you happen to live in my congressional district, it appears as though you don't have many options, because there is no GOP challenger to the Democratic Party incumbent here. But there are other options. There is a Libertarian running. So, kind of have to look around at what's going on. And recently, I will say that my representative, Henry Cuellar, has done a couple of things that I actually agree with, which is kind of shocking, because usually I'm just butting heads with the gentleman because we're diametrically opposed on most issues. But there have been a couple recently that he seems to have seen the light on. Now he's still looking for special shinies, because what he is he's against special admission privileges or anything for the other than Mexican, that is South American and Central American. And by the way, that's ICE's term, not my term, OTM. But talking about those children, he doesn't want any special favors given to them, even though the law kind of gives them to them, which I agree should not be the case. But his reasoning for it is, well, if you're going to give it to them, you need to start giving it to the Mexican children as well. And he thinks that the Mexican children are being treated unfairly, and that's why he's so opposed to this. I don't think any of them should get any kind of special consideration. I think if they come in illegally, if they can prove that they're needing some kind of amnesty is the wrong word, but asylum, if they've actually come from a situation that warrants it, then yes, there should be a proper hearing, and if it fits the bill, they should be granted that. But by and large, most of them aren't. Although there are reports coming from back in Honduras and everything, saying that some of these kids that have been repatriated already are not lasting very long before being killed or succumbing to some illness or dying or whatever the case is, but they're not surviving very long after the trip back. Don't know exactly what's going on there because I haven't seen the actual reports. I've just caught rumors coming out of people who have access to that kind of data who indicated those things to me. But that's an interesting note, and it is not the majority of them, folks. It is actually a small handful minority. It's just that it has happened. But I don't want to get everybody on a down note. We're coming towards the end of the week. We had Hump Day yesterday. We tried to hit a high note, and we're going to try to ride that wave down. Of course, tomorrow is going to be a little bit more of a free-for-all because it's Freedom Friday, unless something major comes up that requires me to flap my gums the entire show about a single not-so-happy issue. Speaking of flapping gums, for those of you out there listening, if you want to call in and tell me what you want to talk about or bring up your subject and we can discuss it, the phone number here is, and by the way, this is not, I repeat, not a toll-free number, folks, but the number here is 520-226-8567 to go on and call on in. So we welcome those calls. And I'm your host, Paul-Gregory Matuszak, in case you didn't catch that before, and you are listening to the Mouth of Matuszak show over here on Heartland Radio. In other news, we may not be carrying this show on Heartland for very much longer. Right now we have it in the works to shift over to a different channel. So we'll see what happens with that in the very near future, but it's not so near that it's like tomorrow or anything. It's going to be a week or two or three or maybe a month away. But stay tuned and we'll let you know where we end up. But that's a good thing, folks. It's a good thing. But on a high note, if you happen to pop over to that relatively new, it's only been around for going on close to 6 months now, but that's a site called BuzzPo, run by Chris Widener and Todd Herman. And it's a great site. It's been doing a lot of good things, breaking a lot of news. And what news it doesn't break, that's not like original investigative stuff, is some snarky, and they do lend some new information out there to other stories that you may not get at other news sources. And then they also kind of present some things in a little bit of a snarky, entertaining fashion as well. That's kind of it's becoming, to some degree, with some of the stories and articles out there, the conservative version or the not-so-liberal version of BuzzFeed, so to speak. So they are not BuzzFeed. They're not a copy of BuzzFeed. They're just, with some articles, have a similar type of feel, only with a more conservative bend. And that's with the more lighthearted stories, of course. But there are all kinds of things over there to look at, folks. And again, it's run by a couple of great individuals in Mr. Widener and Mr. Herman. But pop on over there, and one of the articles I filed over there yesterday, to file one that wasn't in the deep, dark dredges of the bad stuff going on, something a little bit more lighthearted. Have you guys seen this? The ALS Association, that's the Lou Gehrig's Disease Association, because I'm not going to try to pronounce that big, long thing that ALS stands for, because I will inevitably trip over my tongue 6 or 7 times on the first word alone. But it's some kind of, the first word is ridiculous to say for me, but the second words are lateral sclerosis. It's a neurological disease, otherwise known as Lou Gehrig's disease, that has taken down several prominent individuals. Lou Gehrig is not the only one. He was just the first famous person, but there have been several other athletes and other prominent people that have been stricken with this. And it strikes ordinary citizens, too, ordinary people, or people who are extraordinary in different ways other than the famous ways. Maybe another way to look at it for some of you. But they've been doing this, well, I know they did it last year, and they're redoing it again this year. It's called the Ice Bucket Challenge. And last year they raised $1.9 million, which is not bad. It goes towards research and awareness campaigns for this disease. But 1.9, which is not bad. It's some really good fundraising, but it's nothing compared to what they've done this year so far. They released a statement a couple of days ago that they've hit over 35 million. I think it's like 35.1 million or something like that. I'll have to, if you pop on over to BuzzPo, I have the exact quote in there and the exact number. I can't remember it right off the top of my head. But there's also a couple of videos there. Some famous people. who have accepted the ice bucket challenge or the this kind of thing. But if you haven't heard about it, what you do is somebody like tags you or challenges you to do this ice bucket thing, and then what you do is you get somebody to fill a bucket full of ice water, and that means like chunks of ice in it included, and to dump it over your head on video, and then you post it, and when you do it, you tag the next person, and it's all brings with it donations. So you take the challenge, and I guess if you take the challenge, I guess the person who challenges you makes a donation in your name. I'm not exactly entirely sure how it works, but it's doing some good stuff out there and raising some good money and bringing some awareness to ALS. So we have one of the audio from one of the clips that I posted over at BuzzPo. Now let's see if you can recognize, if he doesn't say his name. Well, kind of listen in on this particular individual who took the ice bucket challenge.
Today, I'm challenging Sean Hannity, Connie Burton, and Dr. Ed Young. And as an added bonus, I'm challenging Houston's own, the great J.J. Watt. All right, here we go. Sweetheart, let's go. Whoa!
Yay, Daddy!
Whoa!
I'm not sure if y'all recognize that voice. If you haven't, let me tell you who that was, folks. That was the U.S. Senator from the great state of Texas, Ted Cruz. And that was his wife, Heidi, dumping a rather large bucket of ice water over his head, and then his two daughters running up afterwards and cheering his name and pushing him into a pool for an added little bonus to the clip. So go on over and actually watch the video and watch as it goes down and that happens. But also on there, I have a video clip that I was unable to pull the audio from, but it's President George W. Bush, Bush Jr., the blame Bush. He got doused himself, and of course he was challenged by his daughter Jenna Bush to do this. So he got doused with the ice water with the ice bucket challenge, and of all the people, he tagged another former president. He tagged President Bill Clinton. So we'll see if Bubba Clinton will rise to the challenge. We know so far that President Obama has been challenged a few times, and so far has not accepted it. Whether he thinks it's unpresidential or whatever, or he's just too busy being on the golf course and being on vacation at Martha's Vineyard, or whatever his reasoning is, he has not yet accepted the challenge. So there you have a little bit of a high note. You get to watch somebody, in fact specifically, you get to watch Heidi Cruz dump ice water all over her husband, Senator Ted Cruz, as well as, you pop over that article, you get to see the same thing happen to President Bush. So, how's that, folks? And it hasn't just been politicians that have done this yet so far, folks. We've had military personnel that I know personally that thankfully have not challenged me, who have taken the challenge, and also Bill Gates of Microsoft fame, Mr. Windows himself, has taken the challenge. And for you Star Trek lovers out there, your Trekkies, George Takei, Captain Sulu, or Commander Sulu, I'm trying to remember what rank he eventually got to, but Sulu, doused himself, or got himself doused. So it's been going around with a lot of more famous people, and as well as some not so famous people. For example, I think I have linked in there, you can go over to my friend Sean Kabish's video, which I don't have the whole video in that article, but I do have it linked to it. But you can watch a U.S. Army captain. Still a captain, aren't you, Sean? Or did you finally get promoted? Anyway, you get to see a soldier take the challenge. He's not in uniform, though, folks, so don't worry. He's not bringing disgrace onto the cloth. He's in workout clothes. So, but, good things going on out there.
You don't have a right to know everything in a separation of powers government, my friend. That is the